It wasn't thought about right from the start. I mean, World of Tanks is made by a group of kind of like hardcore military enthusiasts who are really into strategy games, and that was the sort of, that was how it was born. But very quickly, once they'd made it a team-based game, 15 against 15, it became fairly obvious that this thing lent itself to esports. So once we moved into marketplaces like Korea, where esports is, almost like a religion, they began to give us some feedback on how to make the game more appropriate for esports. Andre, who's our global publishing director, he totally gets esports and sees that as a critical part of how we can market ourselves successfully in Asia. So he basically owns the dialogue with the development studios, and so he's been able to get those guys to sign up and build in very esports friendly features. So it does lend itself nicely to esports, and it's going to get better. We added British Tanks at the back end of last year. Up until that point, World of Tanks was a fairly sort of underground sort of like game that only a few people were into. As soon as we added the British Tanks, a whole load of Brits were like, interested in playing. So that's one way you could do it. The other way is maps. So we've added a fantastic sort of Korean-inspired map that beautifully recreates the sort of mountains, the heavily forested mountains of Korea, with the the sort of lovely traditional buildings in there as well. So that's another good way of doing it. And then we talked about esports. Adding in sort of esports-friendly features is another way as well. So we basically rely on our community to tell us. We keep our ear to the ground. We listen. We've got our local marketing teams as well, and there's always like a list, there's a massive long list of things to do, and then it's just a question of priority, but eventually they all get done, and slowly but surely the game becomes perfect for everybody. We always thought about what we call the trilogy. So we've got World of Tanks, as you say, World of Warplanes launches 25th of September. Next year we complete the trilogy with World of Warships. So just as like World of Warplanes was World of Tanks in the sky, this is going to be World of Tanks at sea. Obviously that comes with some challenges, creating just water, moving water is a graphically, sort of quite challenging task, but the big world engine allows us to do that. There are certain cultures where, obviously on the Eastern Front in World War II, there were no boats involved at all, and so the sort of the German and the Russian experience, is primarily to do with tanks. The Brits, we're more into planes, but you talk to the Japanese and the Americans, and the battles that they remember are like Pearl Harbor and Midway. So the trilogy is great because the people that like military vehicles, they then get to be able to fly or drive or sail. But then we've also got the cultural angle as well, which means that we can get people into, back into World War II, serious World War II military games by having theatres of war that they can relate to from a cultural perspective as well. So it's still in alpha at the moment, but you'll be able to get a look at that once we go into closed and then open beta. And we'll certainly be showing a lot more of battleships this time next year at Gamescom. And it will definitely launch, back end of 2014, and it's shaping up very nicely.
Focus on this one. This is really awesome. Guinness World Record. That's great.
Absolutely, yeah. It's there's not many games companies that have got a Guinness World Record, but World of Tanks heartland is Belarus and Russia. And in Russia, World of Tanks is like, it's a cultural phenomenon. It's a bit like Beatlemania when you go there. And so, we managed to get 190,451 crazy Russian guys playing World of Tanks all at once, and that got us into the Guinness World Record. So we're very grateful for them.